Let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. I do not like folding tongues. Get over it. Hello and welcome to Substance Football. My name is Sub, and in this video I'll be talking about my playing experience in the new Adidas Predator Elite. I'll be going over the fit and comfort, the outsole, the touch on the ball, the durability, as well as the overall performance of the boot itself. Starting off with the fit and comfort. For reference, I have slim feet with a low arch, so do take that in mind when I am giving out these sizing recommendations. So in terms of sizing, I went with my usual 9.5 UK, and these boots definitely do fit true to size. There's absolutely no room in the toe area. But if you are someone who likes a bit of like extra room in the toe area, I'd recommend going maybe half a size up. Now this new Predator model isn't as wide fitting as the previous model. Initially it had this kind of like narrow factory fit to it, but over time it does stretch to the shape of your foot. Breaking period I would say is about maybe 4 90-minute sessions, around that, depending on what kind of intensity those training sessions are. There was a bit of soreness during this breaking period, and like I'd have to take the boots off just because the bottom of my feet felt very sore. The sole plate is quite stiff at the beginning, but it does, you know, as you would expect, soften up over time. But luckily I didn't experience any hot spots or blisters or kind of any stud pressure in these boots. And in terms of lockdown, these boots are fantastic. It's very like, I'd say, speed boot-esque. My feet felt like very secure, and I always felt very stable while playing in the boots themselves. Now, a very important aspect of the boots when it comes to fit, especially in these, is the toe box. The toe box is very narrow in this boot compared to like the previous model, so there is a bit of like initial discomfort there when you're breaking them in, but like I said, they do stretch over time. And then you can kind of see from the like toe area as well, it's quite low profile. It's not too raised, so you get more of a connection with the ball. The general comfort of the boot is very good, and once the hybrid touch 2 upper is fully broken in, it's very soft and very pliable. There's also some padding in the heel area, as you'd expect, and actually something like maybe some boots don't have is there's a bit of padding underneath like the kind of tongue construction area. I guess that's a bit more for cushioning and maybe a bit of protection in case you get stepped on possibly. And it's throughout the boot as well, inside of the boot, there's this kind of like suede lining, very plush, and it does feel very comfortable once again these boots are fully broken in. The Predator Elite uses what Adidas call the Control Frame 2 outsole, and is comprised of several triangular studs which do have a bit of curvature to them. They're tad on the long side, but they're not too long. The question a lot of you are wondering is, are these okay to use on 3G pitches? The first time I actually played in these boots was on a 3G pitch into a match, which I don't recommend doing. I don't usually do that, but I was desperate to wear these. And for my recommendations, I personally would not use these on 3G. Personally, I felt a bit too much kind of traction and resistance to movement while playing in these. Maybe the studs are just a bit too long. So yeah, in terms of playing on 3G with like the rubber infill, I wouldn't recommend these. Maybe if it's like a 4G pitch which doesn't have the infill and isn't as shallow, you might get away with it. But in terms of 3G, no, definitely not. But in terms of the performance of the outsole on grass, it's fantastic. It's pretty much almost everything that you want in a sole plate. It's snappy, it's responsive, traction is very good. You always feel like stable and mobile in these. And then you have this kind of stiffness in the kind of midfoot to the heel area, which is what you want to provide a good amount of support to your foot. Overall, I have no real complaints about the outsole. I think it does a great job. In classic Predator style, you have your rubber striking elements on the upper to provide more grip on the ball. And instead of spikes that we've seen on the previous few generations of the Predator, what we have now are like this kind of fins. They look like gills on a shark, to be honest. They remind me of the kind of fins that we saw on the Mania and the Precision as well. And the redesigned striking element is what Adidas are calling strike skin. And in terms of touch on the ball, the strike skin, you do definitely feel it. It's very aggressive as well. Maybe if you're not used to something like this on an upper, it does take a bit of time to get used to. And in general, you feel like you're making better connection on the ball when you're playing in these. And then on top of the strike skin, I think the fact that the boot has a very kind of low profile toe box, you get a better connection on the ball in general. Or just manipulating the ball, so it's passing, dribbling, shooting, everything feels very responsive in this boot. And because of the hybrid touch 2 upper, the touch on the ball when it's not necessarily on track elements or like on the other side of the ball, it's more towards the traditional side. I wouldn't say it's like leather-ish, but like again, it's synthetic. It's definitely not barefoot, but yeah, it falls more on the traditional side. So I used the Predator from February when I got these all the way to the end of my season, which was April this year. And for the most part, the boots have held up very, very well. However, I did get a bit of separation the first time I played in them, but that might be because I played on 3G, or the fact that maybe sometimes I accidentally drag my left foot when I'm playing. But anyway, apart from that, they were fixed with some super glue. Haven't had any issues since then really, but apart from that, they've held up very, very well. And just to summarize what you get from the boot in terms of pros and cons, as far as pros goes, you get a boot that is comfortable once fully broken in, fits true to size, responsive touching the ball, a responsive outsole, and holds up very, very well. And in terms of cons, I'd say maybe the breaking period is a bit too long. The upper is quite stiff once you get them, but like I said, it does stiffen up, but maybe it's a bit too long for maybe a modern football boot. And then the fact that this boot is a bit more narrow fitting than previous Predator models, so if you have wide feet, this boot might not be as kind to you as with the accuracy was. And the Predator Elite is a boot that I've enjoyed playing in a lot. It reminds me a lot of the Nike Phantom Venom, but with a much kind of grippier touch on the ball. And if you're wondering and you're thinking of trying out a pair, I would definitely recommend these boots.